Hey, thanks for joining my channel, The Eclectic Life. Today we're going to be talking about the ridgid 13-inch planer. I think the model number is, the model number is R4331. 13-inch planer. I've had this for about a year. It's been a pretty good planer. I've had some issues with some sniping. That's the only complaints I have. Today we're going to be talking about how to inspect and also either flip your blades, because these blades, it's a 3-blade setup, but each blade has 2 sides. I've actually already messed with the blades before a couple of months ago because I had a couple of nicks and it was leaving lines in my planes. So today we're going to be showing you how the proper way to take the blades off, inspect them, and then reinstall the blades properly. First thing you're going to do is you have 2 bolts. This is the dust cover right here. It leads up right here to the there's a fan in there that helps remove the wood chips and the sawdust and everything for your dust collection in that tube right there. But like I said, you got a bolt here and a bolt here. I've already removed them, but once you take both these bolts out, set them to the side, keep up with them, and this just slides right out. Easy peasy. And when you take this out, I don't know if you can see over here. Oh, another side note is make sure you unplug the machine, because you definitely don't want this sucker cutting on while you got your fingers in there. I don't know if, yeah, you can see it. This right here is it's like a, I guess, a kind of a safety slash locking mechanism. And when you rotate the blade around, which be super careful. These things, even a dull one, is still razor sharp. So be careful. Do not even attempt to touch the blade. Trust me, I know. I've cut myself, not bad, but I cut myself. I barely touched it. So what I was getting at is this safety lock right here. When the dust cover's on, it pushes it out of the way so the machine will operate. But when you have the dust cover off, you roll it over and you heard that lock so you can work on it. I've already started removing the bolts. I like to go through and loosen all the bolts up and then come back and just spin them all out. And you've got a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bolts holding the plate on, which in turn holds the blade on up under the plate. Just put your bolts up on top of the machine is what I do. It's not too involved, but there is a process to doing it. And I'm using the Allen key that came with the machine. Sometimes it's easier to spin them out by hand. I'm using the Allen key that came with the machine. I'm not sure what size this is, but it does have magnets on the top of it, which I'll show you in a minute. Comes in very handy to get the plate and the blade and then reinstall both of them. It comes in super handy. So don't lose it. It stores on the side of the machine. I'm sure you know if you have this machine. So as I was saying about the magnet, and just put it on there and get it at the right spot, and it'll pick it up. It'll pick the piece up so you can turn it over. And now what I do is I like to I like to take a little, almost like a Scotch-Brite, and just kind of go back and forth on this to get off any debris that might be lodged on it. It's not too bad. This one isn't too bad. We're gonna see. I know for a fact on this particular blade, we're gonna see a little debris stuck up under it. And there was another blade on here that I've already taken off and cleaned, and it had a ton of debris on one side, which I think was causing some snipe issues, in my personal opinion. Like I said, just kind of cleaned both sides off. Not too bad. The dust is not a big deal. You just don't want any debris at the edge of the like on the edge. This is the edge that's going to hold the blade actually down. It's got these little divots right here, and the blade has divots in it, so it's kind of self-aligning, but you want to make sure those seat good, make sure there's no debris around those, and any debris that could, on the edge of it right here, that could hold it up off the blade and let the blade wander when it goes through the wood. So once you get that clean, like I said, just I've got a nothing special, just a brown Scotch-Brite type material they got from Home Depot. It works good. You know, you don't have to dig into it. You just run it over it very lightly, and then you've got this right here. As you can see, we've got a little debris, not a ton of debris on there. Got a little bit right there, a little bit right there. Not a ton, but a little bit. And then I don't know if you can see down in there the debris it's got on there. Let me see if I got a flashlight. All right, here we go. See, it's got a little debris right there. Not too much on that side. I think some of it fell off because it had a chunk of something going on right there. There's a piece right there. And what that'll do is that will hold the blade up higher than it needs to be, which in turn, in my opinion, can cause sniping issues. So we're going to clean that off with the Scotch-Brite as well. Just going to take it and, you know, just rub it on there. We're not trying to scar it up, or we're not trying to scrub it, you know, like you would an oven or anything. But just kind of, you know, give it a good once over. It looks pretty good. Make sure it's clean around these divots right there. There's a divot right there, and right here there's like little divots. I'm sure you can see it. There's one right there. Yeah, you see it. Those are obviously very important in lining the blade up. Now we're going to look at the blade. We'll bring you over here. Let's get you set up to where you can watch me clean this bad boy. All right, so we're going to wipe down both sides. Like I said, don't touch the edges of the blade Find a nice flat surface and just kind of give it a wipe down. You know, you might be tempted to take a knife and scrape off some of the stuff stuck on here, but I wouldn't. In my opinion, that might leave a little gouge. There we go. Almost looks like a brand new blade. As you can see, it's just got a little bit of debris right there, some right there. So we're just gonna kind of all right, then we're going to do, I think all my blades had nicks in them. So we're going to, yeah, this one's got some nicks. I don't know if probably, where they at? It's got some nicks right there. See those nicks? And that will leave lines. Oh, yeah, you can see it a little bit. There are nicks right there. And that will leave lines in your planing surface, which really sucks. This thing comes in very handy to keep your fingers off of the sharp edges. Take it back over here. All right, you just want to verify. Like I said, you've got these little divots right here that you have to line up or it will not seat properly. So you're going to put your finger down on one side and hold it with your finger. That way it don't lift back up. Now the blade can shift side to side. It says like I think it says a 1/16 of an inch. But what I do is I try to line it up with just kind of the edge of the platform that the blade sits on. That pretty much will keep it even on both sides. Make sure those divots are seated really good, and then we're going to grab the plate. The plate doesn't have any sharp edges on it, so it's not super important. But you do have to line these divots up right here with the plate as well. You can see it has a little bit of shift too. Just kind of center it with the blade. And what I do is I go ahead and get one screw on each side, not at the very end, but the next to last one on each side started, and just get it tight with your fingers, turning it like this. Don't crank down on it yet. Get this one started. And when you start it with your fingers at first, be careful not to hit the plate too hard and knock it out of alignment. Just go ahead and, you know, snug them down pretty tight as you can, holding the Allen key like this. That'll keep it from moving around when you are putting the rest of the screws in. And I didn't mention on what side of the blade. I forgot to say something about the side of the blade that faces up and faces down. It's pretty much self-explanatory. Just what's most important is just pay attention to which side of the blade is up when you remove it, and that'll kind of guide you through the reinstallation process. But one side's completely flat, and then the other side has kind of a rise to it, if you will, a concave design. Now, I couldn't find any torque specs for these. I don't think it gives it in the manual. I couldn't find them if it does. So I like to go from outside in. So I'll do this one, and then this one, and then this one, and then this one, and then this one, and this one is what I do. Makes sense to me. Instead of going all the way across in one direction. So we're going to start with this one. I mean, you want to tighten them, but you don't want to crank it down, because you're going to have some form of thermal expansion, and you don't want them so tight they can't breathe, in other words. So just, you know, nice and firm. I know that's a technical term, but you know, I imagine if you just tighten these as tight as you could, first off, you wouldn't allow for the thermal expansion. Then second off, you probably would strip these out. I'm getting them pretty tight, but I'm not, you know, trying to break the head off the screw. All right, so to rotate this, you got to push this red lever back right here. You got to push it back and rotate it around. Be careful, because the blade wants to try to come over on top of your finger. And we're going to look at that blade. That blade looks pretty good. There's no trash up under it. I don't have any nicks because I'm not having any lines. There we go, it's locked in place, but we're going to check the, yeah, these are good. It just makes sense to, if you're only messing with one or two of the blades, especially if you're messing with all three of them. But if you're just messing with a couple of the blades or one of the blades, might as well go ahead and rotate the blade around and check all the bolts at least, and check for alignment, check for trash, all that good stuff. That one is pretty good as well. I believe that's the one that had, like, you won't believe the trash that was stuck on this left side over here. Let's see, let's make it where you can hear it lock into place. There you go. You'll hear it lock. Yeah, this one's good. Like I said earlier, this is a 3-blade setup, so it's not too involved, but there's a proper way to do everything. All right. Now we are looks like I might have to put a new little gasket. You see the side of this head right here has like a little gasket on it, but part of it's missing. It probably got sucked up. All right, so it's pretty cut and dry. You just put this flat on here, and you've got these 2 alignment tabs right here. One's right here, and the other one is right here next to the metal. And so the plastic cover just goes up under it. And when you tighten this screw right here, it's going to push on that red safety switch and allow the machine to operate. Go on. Now this is on plastic, so you obviously don't want to crank it down, but you want to tighten them enough to where they don't vibrate out. You know, if that makes sense. All right, I'm going to cut the power on. And we're going to run this piece of maple through there and see how it does. Let's see how it operates. Let's put this dust collector back on. All right, here we go. Let's see what happens. Well, let's troubleshoot and see what's going on.